Polian press conference is brought to you by Empire Financial Services. It's time to let your money work for you. And by the dairy farmers of Western New York.
And good evening. I'm Paul McGuire, along with Bill Polian, and welcome to the Bill Polian press conference. We have the members of the media, an astute group here for this 2 days before Christmas. A wonderful studio audience that have some tremendous questions that they want to ask Mr. Bill Polian towards the end of the year. But first of all, I get my 2 cents in, which is injuries.
Really, thank God, not much of anything. Will Wolford got a little bit of a sprained ankle, but he said he'll be fine. I saw him today. Other than that, not much. So, knock wood, we came out of it okay, which was our #1 objective.
Okay. Now, I'll voice my opinion because I've done it all over the nation today because I've been on a lot of shows. The question of not starting the starters, and I'm going to let you handle it, and I would imagine these guys have some other things they want to talk about. But personally, I don't know of too many coaches that had comments to make would have started their starters in a game like this that means absolutely nothing, and it meant absolutely nothing to the Buffalo Bills when you have a chance to rest people for 3 weeks, and I think that's the ultimate goal. Now, you've taken, obviously, some heat. Marv Levy has taken some heat, and the Buffalo Bills have taken some heat about not playing. But one other thing, let me interject here, not playing and trying to win the ball game when the damn thing went to overtime, and it was a 17-14 game. Now, did I miss something?
Well, that's what I said after the game. Some people asked me if I thought that we'd put forth a good effort. Heck, we took it in overtime. So, and, you know, if you didn't think we put out a good effort, I don't think you're at the game. But let me go back to the original issue because I think it's been obscured in a lot of hyperbole during the week. And that's the word for the week, by the way. I'll tell you after the show. I don't want to take the valuable time to spell it. First of all, Thurman Thomas and Jim Kelly did not finish the Indianapolis game. Thurman Thomas played only a quarter because of a sprained ankle. Jim Kelly played only a half because of a swollen knee. To play players in a meaningless game when, in fact, they didn't finish the previous game would be foolhardy. Neither man was 100%. And so the first question you ask with respect to whether or not a man's capable of playing is, was he 100%? The answer in Kelly's case and in Thurman's case was no. James Lofton was definitely out, did not practice all week. Steve Tasker was very questionable and ended up playing because he was ready to go on game day. We worked him out in the pregame and he was ready to go. So we played the people that were healthy in an effort to give our best effort. Bruce Smith played the better part of a half. Andre Reed played a fair amount of the game. We spotted people in and out. Will Wolford got hurt, necessitating a change on the offensive line, so we were down to one dressed offensive lineman, Mike Brennan. So, I mean, we did the best we could with lots of injuries. Wayne Fonts, you know, everybody's talking about this coach says that. First of all, I didn't hear Mike Ditka criticize anyone, and Parcells is the only, I guess, you know, soon to be a coach, if you believe all the rumors. He was the only one who made a comment one way or the other that I heard. But over and above that, Wayne Fonts told Marv and I after the game that he thought that our team put forth a heck of an effort and was very complimentary toward our team. And I appreciate that. And I think that those are the facts. We put forth a heck of an effort. We came up short in overtime. But, you know, that's the way it goes. But as far as the integrity of the game is concerned, I think we upheld that as best we possibly could.
You know, you and I have talked so many times about one of the things that people don't listen to is that no one goes into a football game to lose a game or they wouldn't be on this team in the first place.
No, of course not. And everyone was everyone in our locker room last night was disappointed, and I think to a great degree upset, because we had an opportunity to win that game, to put that game away early, to put the Detroit Lions in a position where they were, where Barry would not have been the factor that he was if we had gotten an early lead and we didn't make the plays necessary to get an early lead, and that was frustrating. It was frustrating to the coaches, it was frustrating to the administration, and frustrating, I think, to many of the players. But as Marv said, we have to put that behind us and get on now with the job of doing the best we can do in the playoffs.
Okay, speaking of frustration, don't get too frustrated now, because we're going to go to the members of the media, and these guys are tough. We brought in a Christmas bonus for you. Some tough people. First of all, Mr. Dale Musson. Dale, welcome to the show again. He's the sports director of WYRK Radio 106.5. Dale,
it.
thank you. I got that right.
Got it right this time.
I did 1065 40.
Whatever it was.
Danny Neverth Jr. I do a lot of work with this guy. He's very good, you know. He's taught me everything I've known. He keeps telling me that every week. Sports director at WHTT FM Oldies 104.1. Daniel, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And finally, Rick Zurich, who is the sportscaster at WKBW TV Channel 7, Cable 8, the ABC affiliate.
Who did not take the poll.
Who did not take the poll.
Yes, Paul is going to
When
correct
they-
himself
when
again because we did not take the should we keep or should we not keep.
I
Norwood.
said that. I said, and I right back, I said it was Channel 2.
After the commercial, you did it. You said it was Channel 7, and you did a commercial. Oh, by the way, it wasn't Channel 7, it's Channel 2. And the next question.
You were invited here as a guest, pal. Let me explain something to you. Before Bill, hey, I know why you get mad at these guys. Let me tell you something,
Take it
pal.
easy now.
I didn't even call your name yet.
Take it easy now.
Now, wait a minute.
Don't get upset.
All right, hold on to yourself.
Keep your liable to knock the air conditioning out again. Keep your blood pressure down.
Okay, first of all, Dale, go ahead.
Bill, one injury you didn't mention was that of Marv Levy. Boy, he took a shot. Well, actually, no, when he pulled a calf.
He pulled the calf muscle.
That's what it was.
Yeah, he pulled the calf muscle. He's better today. He'll be day-to-day this week, but I think he'll be full go next week.
Was there at any point during the course of that game after Marv was hurt that you considered maybe resting him for the playoffs? And maybe naming Walt Corey to coach the team for the...
I gave it some thought, but he was able to go. He gutted it out.
Bill, given the mentioned players were not 100%, Thurman Thomas and Jim Kelly, would they have played had it been a critical game?
I think if it was do or die, you know, to get into the playoffs, perhaps, you know, we would have gone down to the wire on that decision, meaning Sunday morning as we did with Steve Tasker. But beyond that, no. No. If it had been a regular season game or in the middle of the season or earlier in the season, no. Only if it had terrific ramifications.
Here's what I'm sure is going to come up, and I'm sure you'd like to comment on it. Snowballs at the game yesterday.
Yeah, it's a difficult problem. We're going to discuss it tomorrow in our playoff planning meeting. The obvious response is that it sure doesn't give Buffalo and its wonderful fans who set a new National Football League record yesterday for support of the team a good image.
12th guy again, huh?
Yeah, that's right. The 12th man, the best in the nation. Secondly, it's only a minority. And I think we had good success handling that minority. In retrospect, although I didn't think that was the case at the time, Tom White handled it well, I thought, in retrospect. I was a little worried at the time that it might cause a furor, but he handled it well. And I think that that's probably, in the long run, the best possible way to do it, because it puts the onus on the 12th man to make sure that those few idiots who engage in that kind of behavior don't ruin it for the team or the town. Now we can do some things to help along those lines, and we're going to.
An announcement was made during that incident that the Bills would be penalized.
Right.
What would the penalty be?
I presume delay of the game.
How would that differ from sound, from the sound problem?
Well, you know, as you know, I think you've been a basketball official. There's a rule in the book called Rule 2, Section 4, which is when the official can't think of anything else to invoke, he uses Rule 2, Section 4, which says the official has a right to run the game. I presume that that's what Tom was doing.
I'm sure it was.
And he would have determined under some arcane rule that there was a penalty to be paid, but in retrospect, I salute him. I think he did a good job.
Let me continue on. They brought up, but the field goal that was missed by Murray, before he made the field goal, there was a snowball landed right in front of him before he kicked the ball. And I thought for sure that the official was going to call a penalty at that point in time. I really and truly did, because he even looked up, and you could see it. He's looking up at the official. You know, what's going on? The snowball hits, I mean, there's like one, at least one, maybe two, right in front of him just before he kicks. I mean, it's done and over with. I'm just saying I thought that there would be a penalty there.
I was not aware of that. I saw him look up when because Nate skimmed him and he tripped over Nate, but both feet had come down on the ground, which is what the rule requires. And he looked, I thought he was looking at the referee to try and get a roughing penalty, but as it turned out, the referee made the right call, which was not to call that. I wasn't aware of a snowball.
Okay, the reason I saw it on TV is because I knew the guys weren't playing yesterday. I went home and watched it on television. Yes?
I think it's only fair that I'd throw it back in your direction again, and when we kind of rehash this a little bit more, who played, who didn't play yesterday. And the only reason I'm throwing in your direction, I agree 100% with you. I stated that this morning on our radio show. I talked to Paul about it. We both agree with it. And yet there is a feeling among quite a few season ticket holders that maybe they received less than their value for yesterday's ticket, that some players didn't play strictly because the playoffs were in mind. Maybe they weren't injured. Only the players know that, only you know that, and only the players will know, or all I know is what my feelings were going into the game, that, hey, well, why would you risk that?
Well, let me just answer the question this way. There is a school of thought around this town which says whatever the Bills say, it's not true. They're always lying. When they tell you that they raise prices because of Plan B, it's a lie. When they tell you Jim Kelly's hurt, it's a lie. When they say there's nothing wrong with Bruce Smith, it's a lie. When they say Bruce Smith is going to be back in 4 weeks, that's a lie. These are, in my opinion and in my experience, usually always gamblers, because gamblers believe that everything is fixed, that the time we go off the air is going to be fixed. You know, the gamblers live in a cynical world. So I pay very little attention to those kinds of cynical approaches to things. That's one point. The second point is when a person buys a ticket, be it a season ticket or an individual game ticket, they know, just as they know in other athletic contests, but more specifically and more frequently in football, that they may not see a particular player because of injuries. We have injuries in this game, and I would go back, again, I use the word hyperbole, I think, for whatever reason, perhaps because of some hidden agenda, what hasn't been said enough over this past week is Jim Kelly did not finish the Indianapolis game. Thurman Thomas didn't even finish the first quarter of the Indianapolis game. Those men were hurt. Pure and simple. Pure and simple. Could they have played had the playoffs depended on it? Perhaps. I don't know the answer to that because I didn't ask Dr. Weiss. But they did not finish the previous game.
I think the feeling with Jim Kelly was that regardless of whether Jim Kelly was hurt or not, he wasn't going to finish the Indianapolis game.
Well, he was hurt. He was hurt,
keep him in there.
He got a nick on the knee. Marv told me at halftime of the Indianapolis game that he would not go back, and I went up and informed Pat Hayden and Howard David, who were doing the CBS radio broadcast of it, and our PR people informed the ESPN people of that he wouldn't come back in the second half because he got a bang on the knee. And I mean, those are the facts.
But I think what I'm getting at, I agree with you. Half the people agree with you, but you have to feel that sense of frustration on the part of
No, I don't.
You don't understand that at all.
I do not.
Because whereas I'm 100% in your corner, listening to some of these people this morning and listening to some of their I can understand why they're frustrated. I don't agree with them.
They're only frustrated because they believe that Jim Kelly is not hurt, and they believe that Thurman Thomas is not hurt, and was not hurt, excuse me, and that's not true.
But I think they're also
Simply
factoring in the 17-game winning streak just kind of kissed off. And not only that, but somebody else pointed out to me, the whole philosophy this year was one game at a time. I don't want to know about Miami. We're playing the Colts. I don't want to. It was one game at a time, and yet the whole approach this week was thinking 2 weeks in advance.
Well, let me say this. first of all, I don't care what any media people think about what we did or didn't do, because they can't have any effect on the outcome of the game. Secondly, as I said, when you buy a ticket to a sporting event, you know that there are certain players that are going to be held out for injury. Thirdly, you got a heck of a good game. We didn't win, but you got a good game. And finally, the focus is on going as far as we can go in the playoffs, and I'm not going to apologize for that.
Okay, we have to take a break there, but before we do, let me just say something to Dan. We'll get back to you. We'll get back to this problem. Is that, I'm sorry, I had Detroit. And I was getting 5. I loved every moment of it. Are you kidding me? When I found that's right. There the answer. The guys that lost are the guys that are complaining. I had Detroit, pal. And we're going to take a break here.
And I could care less about
I can take a break here to Bill Polian press conference. We'll be right back with Bill and the members of the media right after this.
It's crazy. We're earning low rates and paying high taxes.
Let's talk to the experts at EFS. With our CDs and passbooks, we're getting taxed to the hilt.
A tax-deferred annuity is an excellent alternative. Your principal is guaranteed for safety and security, and your interest is tax-deferred.
So, we use that tax money for things we really enjoy.
It's time to let your money work for you. That old phrase, getting there is half the fun. We might add, be prepared. A busy life takes stamina. Stamina needs a balanced diet. So make part of it that nutritious energy giver, milk. Fresh as cold could ever be. With energy plus 15 essential nutrients for your busy life.
Straightforward.
He's been the focal point of your offense for 6 or 7 years. It's devastation.
Controversial.
Week 1, how do you fire an offense coordinator after week 1?
Unpredictable.
How about Ray Sherrill?
Well, you know, to each his own.
Bill Parcells. Mike Francesa. Complete analysis and insights into each week's pro football matchups around the NFL.
Saturday evening at 10 here on the Empire Sports Network.
You can now cook like the top restaurant chefs in the world. Introducing the Jacquard Meat Tenderizing Machine, a kitchen must for any and all meat preparation. Just place the piece of meat, chicken, or even fish on a cutting board and let the stainless steel blades take over. Simply go over the piece of meat 3 or 4 times to get an incredibly tender cut of meat. By using the Jacquard Meat Tenderizing Machine, cooking time is reduced up to 40%. It speeds marination time, makes barbecued meat taste even better. Cook the natural way, no chemicals, and it's dishwasher safe. The Jacquard Meat Tenderizing Machine is used in fine restaurants all over the world, and now it's available to you. Here's how to order today. Call 1-800-743-9339 for the Jacquard Meat Tenderizing Machine. It makes the perfect holiday gift. Just $19.95 plus $3.50 for shipping and handling. Visa, MasterCard, American Express accepted. Canadian orders, please add $2. Supplies are limited, so call 1-800-743-9339 now.
The Buffalo Bills, with their high-potent offense and merciless defense, are a dominant force in the NFL and look ready for another championship season. But what are they like off the field? How do they occupy their time away from the game? Find out on Bills Magazine. Get an up-close and personal look at the Buffalo Bills. Bills Magazine, Wednesday nights at 7:30, only on the Empire Sports Network, the home of hometown heroes.
I got to throw these out. Oh, welcome back. Bill Polian press conference. The reason we didn't have Rick Zurich on at the beginning, in that first segment, because he opened his big mouth and jumped in on the first segment before I even invited him. One thing, let's get something clarified here, so that people understand. And no, let's not get into numbers, but when Jim Kelly left the Indianapolis game, and Danny, you said that he was going to get out anyway. There is a bonus clause in his contract for over 4,000 yards. Thurman Thomas's contract reads, if he wins the National Football League title, there's a hell of a lot of money at stake here. And these guys, you talk about a team that's together, and you're not hyping it, but it's true. a team sport where these guys are thinking about the team. Both of these guys stayed out of the game. There were no complaints from them. If anybody had a reasonable complaint, it was those two guys that lost a lot of money. And I got to believe they did that. And they were bonuses in the contract.
Well, and not for the specific, 4,000 yards and rushing leadership. That wasn't there, but you know, being out of a ball game is going to impact incentive clauses to some degree or another. We try to take that into consideration when you hit a gray area. But both guys are team-oriented guys. You know, let me talk about the rushing title to begin with. Kenny gained 118 yards, and I think he carried the ball over 25 times, correct?
25.
Thurman was 33 yards behind going in, all right? Emmitt Smith won it, so if we'd given the ball to Thurman 25 times, which would be a battering that I don't think there's anyone, even the most cynical person out there would agree that Thurman should not have gotten the ball 25 times in a meaningless game. He still couldn't have won the rushing title. So the whole thing was moot. As he said to me in a conversation earlier in the week, the Indianapolis game cooked his goose and he was hurt. He didn't walk out of the Indianapolis game. The die was cast on the rushing title because he didn't play 3 quarters there. So when you're talking about the rushing title, it was moot. It was over in Indianapolis, and most of us knew it, including Thurman. And it takes, they're certainly team-oriented guys. I mean, that's a very good point. They sat out. Jimmy could easily have gotten 4,000 yards.
No, he had 160 something.
Yeah, why take a chance? Why take a chance when he didn't finish the previous game? That's the whole point.
All right, let me ask you, you want to talk to Rick or not?
That's all right, I'll talk.
Okay, Rick.
I was just thinking, yesterday when I was talking about the game on the air, I was kind of thinking about, hey, listen, you know, you could be the Pittsburgh-Cleveland game, you could have been in the Tampa Bay-Indy game, you could have been New England-Cincinnati game, a game that absolutely meant nothing, and the attendances, 30,000, showed that, and here the Bills are getting 78+, and a game that was pretty exciting, and, you know, and it was really for those bettors that did bet on the Bills, it was definitely a flip-a-coin game, and I think that they need to realize that. I want to talk about the playoffs because the Bills are going to play the Jets, the Raiders, or Kansas City. And now the embarrassment on Monday night in Kansas City, I think, has got to fire the players up. And you know, rarely will you get a player or even management to say, well, we would rather play this team. I mean, because you can't control it. You've got to play the team that you get. But there's got to be a little extra incentive there for what happened in Kansas City, for emotion and whatnot that the Bills would have for playing the Chiefs. I would think they'd be a little bit more fired up to prove themselves against the Chiefs.
I don't know. First of all, whoever we get, we're going to get. We don't have any control over that whatsoever. I'm not so sure that that there's any added incentive in the playoffs because it's the playoffs. You know, and the best thing about yesterday is that it's over with, that we can get all that peripheral stuff out of the way. And Marv and I were talking after the game last night. I think, you know, that you boil it all down. Who can have an impact on what happens over the next 4 weeks, hopefully? Hopefully, actually 5. Who can have an impact? Players, coaches, staff, and the 12th man in the stands. Those are the people who have an impact on how we do. No one else. So even though we're going to have zillions of media people from all over the country here, and even though we're going to have, well, I don't know what the issue of the week will be this week, but there'll be one, we can be sure of that.
I think we've already touched on it.
Okay, well, you know, I'd appreciate it if you would make it a little more clear-cut so I know how to deal with it, but in any event, whatever it is going to have no impact whatsoever. And we have to begin more than ever to focus immediately on that goal of getting ready this week, getting as ready as we can be, next week preparing for our opponent. Nothing else counts. And that's what got us to 13-3. You know, all of the furor last week moved away from the fact that we were the best team in the AFC. That's why that game was meaningless.
Right.
You know, all right, now all of that's behind us. 3 games hopefully to play. Keep your eye on the target. It's critical. It's critical. And we, as a staff and a team, are going to do our utmost to make sure that that happens, that we don't have the kinds of distractions that we've had really all season.
We talked about stopping the run because, you know, I think giving Barry Sanders on the 26 carries, whatever he had, 108 yards, I mean, the guys, Darryl Taylor said after the game, well, you know, he makes everybody miss. There's no doubt about it. I thought the defense did a pretty good job, and I think that there was a lot of criticism after the Super Bowl about, well, Jeff Wright is not the nose tackle to help stop the run. The Bills can't stop the run. It seems to me the Bills have done a better job this season as the season's come along and guys have come back in stopping the run. What's been the difference? Has it been the players getting healthy? But I think even compared to last year, they are themselves doing a better job in stopping the run.
I don't know that Jeff is playing better than he played last year. I said many times, and I'll say again, that whoever accused him of being a bad nose tackle or not being good against the run in the Super Bowl didn't see the films and didn't see the game. It's just an ignorant statement, period. But he may be playing better this year than he did last year, which means that he's a hell of a football player. Bruce is back healthy. Cornelius is having his finest year. Darryl had an all-pro year. Shane had an all-pro year. In my opinion, it's a shame that Vincent Brown and Shane are not part of the AFC contingent in the Pro Bowl, because I mean, if I had a vote, those would be the two, plus Al Smith, that should be the inside linebackers. In any event, our defense has played terrifically over about the past 5 weeks. That coincides with Jeff being back at full strength, J.D. Williams being back, and Bruce being back. When we're healthy, we're a damn good defense. We're not perhaps as overpowering as we'd like to be, but we're damn good.
Is it better now against the run, would you guess, if you had, you know, same situation with a team like the Giants pounding the ball? Is the team better now to stop that kind of game?
Well, you know, a lot has been said about the Giants. First of all, the Giants are finished as of today, so you know, they're moot as far as 1991.
But there will be a lot of comparisons between now and
That's what I'm talking about. They mean nothing. They mean absolutely nothing. We're not going to play the Giants under any circumstances.
But Kansas City will play that same kind of game.
Who cares? Who cares? We're not going to address that. We're going to get ready to play the football game.
Right,
I'm not in the business of dealing with speculation, you know, because the people who are going to speculate aren't going to have any degree of control over the outcome of the game.
Are you more confident against a team trying to run a power game at you?
I'm confident in our football team.
Okay.
All right. We're going to take a break here in a Rick Zurich quarter hour. We'll be back with the studio audience. And don't pull it. Now I'm going to throw it at him if he didn't stop asking questions. I'm going to wrap him with
I got good hands.
You know, he got in for the last time. These two guys are back in next time. We're going to take a break. We'll be back at the Bill Polian press conference with the audience right after this.
Guests on the Bill Polian press conference received gift certificates from the following: Bobby O'Brien's Tavern on the Green at Briarwood Country Club, Rogers Road in Hamburg, open to the public. The Buffalo Hilton at the waterfront.
To yours, here's wishing you the happiest holidays from your friends of the Empire Sports Network.
If you love basketball, this is the show for you. The plays of the week, player profile, and magic moments from the past. It's all in NBA action.
Celebrate the holidays with hot college hoops from the nation's premier conferences when the Metro, SEC, WAC, and Big Ten collide in the Citrus Bowl basketball tournament. The first game features Big Ten power, Michigan battling the WAC attack of Brigham Young. Then the SEC and Metro square off as Florida battles Virginia Tech. The Citrus Bowl basketball tournament.
Saturday evening at 7 here on the Empire Sports Network.
Lightning strikes Friday nights at 7 when the Empire Sports Network presents Hockey Week, with updates and highlights from around the NHL and interviews with all of today's stars. Hockey Week is the most comprehensive source for NHL news and action. Lightning on Ice. Hockey Week, Fridays at 7, only on the Empire Sports Network.
It's fast, it's tough, it's exciting. It's Buffalo Sabres hockey on Empire Sports. Tune in as the Buffalo Sabres take on the Boston Bruins. Friday evening at 7:30 here on the Empire Sports Network.
If your VCR is a pain to program, then get rid of it. And get the one from RCA with VCR Plus built in. To record a show, just look for the VCR Plus code in your TV listing. Then punch it in. It's as simple as that. So if you had it with your old VCR, get rid of it. And get the easy-to-use RCA VCR with VCR Plus built in.
No two homes are alike. Accentuate your home's personality with a custom ceiling from DeGeorge. Visit our showroom at 1049 Military and you'll find a variety of tiles just perfect for your budget. So replace those old, stained, cracked tiles with a new fire-retardant, washable, and acoustic ceiling. All work is backed by a staff of qualified installers, no subcontractors, and we guarantee your work to be done correctly and on time.
Stop in or call for a free estimate. We go where you are, no matter how far.
Welcome back. The Bill Polian press conference. I'm Paul McGuire with the members of the media, and now we go to the studio audience. And did we get a prize winner yet? We'll get that when we get back on the next segment. All right. Your name and what was your question?
My name is Sherry from Tonawanda. Congratulations on a great season. My question is, can you fill us in on how they decide when we're playing the playoff games and when we'll know if we're playing Saturday or Sunday?
Yeah, well, I know that we'll play the early game. I was told that today. I don't know what day. Likely that we'll hear before the end of the week, and just as soon as we hear, I'll let you know. We'll make an announcement.
Would you guess that you would do early game Sunday?
I would guess that, yes.
Because that would be the prime.
Yes.
The prime is better. Okay.
Yeah. I know it will be the early game.
There's
If
a
I
good
had to
guess,
guess,
but
it would be
Sunday, the early, maybe, but that's for sure. Yes.
Bob from Chitwana. This question's for you, Paul. You've been covering a lot of the Oilers game. I was wondering if you thought they were too concentrating on Buffalo, that they lost their several games during the season towards the end?
It is a very good question, because when they were in Washington and when they lost to Washington, they were on their way to sew it up, and it took them a while to do that. They talked about going through Buffalo and a home field advantage, and I think they got misdirected. And when you talk so many times about being focused, I don't think they were focused on winning their division as much as they were worried about home field advantage not coming to Buffalo. And I think that's one of the big disadvantages for every team in the AFC. They were every one of these teams, they're worried about going through Buffalo, and you just can't do that.
No, you can't. You cannot begin to think anything but whoever your opponent is that particular week. The minute you do, you lose concentration, and losing concentration in this game is fatal. And you know, you saw it yesterday with some of the penalties. We took more penalties yesterday than we have taken maybe in 3 entire games up until that date. And that's purely and simply a lack of concentration. And I'm not pointing a finger at any individual player. I'm very convinced that we didn't have the kind of mental preparation because of lots of distractions last week that we're going to need, that we've had in the past, and that we're going to need to go on in the future. So put it behind us, but you've got to put your concentration hat on and get it done.
I'll tell you one other thing. I talked to Phil Simms Saturday before the game, or Friday before the game against Houston on Saturday. And he said, we have simplified our entire offense and defense. We did not put anything complicated, anything that the players had to think about, because they knew they weren't going to the playoffs. We didn't want guys making 100 mistakes out of the field, so we simplified it, and they still beat Houston. Yes, sir.
Hi, Al from Buffalo. My question's to Mr. Polian. Scotty goes 0 for 2 yesterday. Maybe if he would have made 1 out of 2, maybe the game wouldn't go in overtime. Okay, in the paper they say, well, the wind was blowing and he had trouble kicking, but the weather isn't going to get any better in January. And I know you said you don't make a change this late in the season, but the Jets, since they made that change, they're in the playoffs now. I'm just hoping that, God forbid, we go into playoffs, we win the Super Bowl, and the kick doesn't rely on Scotty, because if it does, to me, I blame the coach and management, because Scotty just has not been there this year, and he should be replaced.
Well, I have to disagree with you, and more importantly than simply disagreeing on an opinion, let me point out exactly what the conditions were yesterday. We put him, you know, you can only ask a player to do what he's capable of doing. A long time ago, a very, very outstanding basketball coach, in response to a question I asked at a clinic, told me, let the players do what they do best. And it's always stuck in my mind as some of the soundest advice you can have in sports. And when you put a player in a position where his chances of succeeding are limited, severely limited, you should not judge him on that situation. Now, what we did yesterday was put him in a situation in both cases where his chances of succeeding were almost nil. I mean, the odds were incredibly against him. We took the shot on, first of all, the wind was a swirling wind. It was a wind that was blowing basically cross field, even though if you looked at the American flag, it looked as though it was blowing toward the administration building. The wind, when you get down on the field, was blowing kind of from the flagpole across to the other end zone. As a result, he took the shot on the 50-yarder. It really wasn't a following wind, but he hit that ball about as well as he could hit it. And what happened at the last minute, the wind just blew it down. So he had a great kick. Elements took him out of it. Down at the other end, you saw what happened to Eddie Murray. I mean, that was impossible. Eddie Murray, and the winning field goal missed, you know, just went in. That was no right down the middle shot from 3 yards away. So the win was impossible. You can't judge the man based on what was done yesterday, because we never put him in a position where he could have a reasonable chance of succeeding. If he did, it would have been a miracle.
You're trying to maintain some sanity in this whole thing of what happened in L.A. But you've got to know, and everybody involved with the Buffalo Bills has to know, if it comes down to a playoff game and he, Scott Norwood, happens to miss a field goal, the winner lose that football game and lose it, they will never let you forget it. You know that. I mean, you know that.
I'm going to go home and sleep soundly tonight knowing that
okay, I just want to know that.
Hey, we made the decision we made, and that's it.
That's it. Okay, I understand that. I'm just telling you what's coming. I'm not going to call. Danny's that guy over there.
Wait, we got to...
Yes, sir.
I'm Mark from West Seneca, and my question is for both Paul and Bill. How do you reconcile the fact that the Bills get so little respect around the nation from media people like columnists and broadcasters with regard to our star players like Jim Kelly's? Even though the numbers, the records show that Kelly and Thomas are top players, they'd rather mention other people, it seems. And Marv Levy is never mentioned in the Coach of the Year, it seems to me, honors, or the candidate for Coach of the Year. Are we too sensitive in Buffalo, or people just don't give us enough respect?
Let me just say one thing ahead of time. Nationally, the Buffalo people, or Buffalo Bills, get a lot of respect. Nationally. Locally, you don't. Nationally, they do. I'm telling you, everybody in this country knows who Jim Kelly and Thurman Thomas and Andre Reed and all Jim and Bruce Smith and all these people. They know. Locally, they have a problem remembering it. They really and truly have a problem remembering. And that's my 2 cents.
My 2 cents is that I think that nationally we do get a lot of respect and a lot of credit. Terry O'Neill's remarks in USA Today about the AFC were unfortunate. And I think he probably, if he had a chance to take them back, he would. But even that considered, I think that our marquee players get the respect they're due. As I said, I think there was shortchanging on the Pro Bowl, but that can happen. I mean, that's happened in our favor in the past, particularly in Shane's when he hasn't had a real good year. As far as Marv Levy's concerned, I agree with Paul completely. He does not get enough credit nationally because people try to take credit away from him here, principally. There are people here that will not give him any credit for what he does, and as a result, he doesn't step out on the national stage, and that's a crime.
And Chuck Noll won 4 Super Bowls and didn't get Coach of the Year. And as long as Marv Levy is winning, he's expected to win. He will not be Coach of the Year. I'll tell you right now, as long as he wins, he won't be Coach of the Year. He's got to have a crappy team and win 6 games. Then he's going to get it. Your name, sir, and what do you want?
I'm Bob Jenko from Buffalo, and I'd like to congratulate you, Bill, not only on the last year, but the last 2 or 3 seasons. It's been fantastic being a Bills fan. I've been a Bills fan since the early 60s when they were hollering, "Looky, looky, here comes Cookie," and there are 800 fans and 1,600 beer bottles at the stadium.
Thank you.
I observed, 3-4 years ago, that Jim Kelly did a fantastic job in the 2-minute drill. And it was very exciting. And I made a very loud comment, they should use this the whole game, and I'm glad you heard me.
We did. Thank you. We appreciate the help.
I'd like to ask, I love to watch Bruce Smith play, and I watched him yesterday, and I thought he might have been hurting a little bit. Is he? And what are the implications for the next few games?
He had a little fluid on his knee, but there were no implications for the upcoming game. We got him a half's worth of work, or a little bit less than that, and then got him out.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Jenko, is it? Thank you very much. All right, let's go. Daniel?
My turn again.
Yeah, you got
Already.
Rick's out.
Regarding Scott Norwood, again, I did hear quite a few comments this morning about that, and they were along the lines of the gentleman that stood up and asked the question. I admire the way you stand behind your players. I admire the way Marv does. I agree with you 100% with Scott this time of the year. But isn't there a danger, and you mentioned it when we were talking about to play or not to play, and that argument. Isn't there a danger with having as strong an opinion about, I don't care what anybody has to say? Isn't there a danger, because ultimately you may have the decision, the owner may have the decision, and Marv may have the decision, but there's 80,000 stockholders.
No, they're not.
They don't have a decision. They don't make a decision to start or to not. But they're the people that really they pay the way. They pay the bills. They are indirectly stockholders.
No, they're
into
not.
The future of this team.
Let's make that clear. They're not stockholders. There's only one owner of this team. So let's make that very clear. There's been, and believe me, we have the best fans in America, and it isn't the 80,000 fans that are out there that are making the complaints. The complaints come largely, you're going to make me say it, I don't want to, but they come largely through the media. That's where the ideas begin, okay? And I don't want to engage in a diatribe here, but question as to the more important question as to having a strong opinion. When I came here in 1984, I went through 2 seasons similar to this past season. The only difference was we were 2-14 in those seasons and 13-3 in this past season. Furor each and every week, beginning with the newspaper and going right on through every other element of the media. And I saw a darn good coach and a darn good coaching staff run out of this town. Run out of this town because of the media. And I vowed when I took this job that I and everybody else who worked for the Buffalo Bills would do the very best we could, but that there was going to be nobody short of Ralph Wilson who was going to sway our professional opinions. And if it gets me fired, as I'm sure it will someday, so be it. We'll stand on our record.
All right, before we get into another diatribe, we're going to take a break here in the Bill Polian press conference, and we'll be back with the members of the media right after this.
Guests on the Bill Polian press conference received gift certificates from the following. The Panache Restaurant, a sensational dining experience at the Buffalo Marriott, Millersport Highway in Amherst. Pettibone's Grill at Pilot Field in downtown Buffalo. And Sal Franco's 4300 Abbott Road at Big Tree near Rich Stadium, where the Southdowns meet.
Buffalo Raceway celebrates 50 years of harness racing with the Empire Sports Network. Follow the action on the track and off every Tuesday night at 9, exclusively on Empire. Off to the Races takes an in-depth look at the world of harness racing and features highlights of the previous week's top races. Off to the Races, Tuesday nights at 9, only on the Empire Sports Network.
Now you can draw the roundest circles, perfect straight lines in any direction, even complicated geometric patterns, perfect every time with the amazing rolling ruler. The secret tool of architects and draftsmen has two tire-like gripping rollers that keep the rolling ruler level as it speeds across your work. The special meter automatically indicates the distance between your lines. The rolling ruler makes professional-looking office forms, charts, graphs, school projects come alive. Do geometry and trig faster and easier. Craftspeople find it irresistible. Dress patterns can be altered to any size. The handyman will love the built-in protractor for perfect angles or make beautiful curves and long straight lines that go on and on. Call for Rolling Ruler at this toll-free number now. Simply insert your pencil into any hole and roll straight lines, parallel lines. Insert two pencils and roll curves, arcs, and circles instantly. Redecorate like a professional. Replan your lawn and garden to perfect scale. Get results you'll be proud of. Kids love it just for doodling. Rolling Ruler is only $12.98. Call now. You'll also receive the amazing pantograph. Copy your favorite photos, cartoons, or designs to any size in just minutes. Finish with the confidence of a real artist. You'll impress yourself. Call this number now. You get the rolling ruler and the amazing pantograph for only $12.98. Order now.
Can your car look new again after an accident? Yes, if it's repaired at Schmidt's Auto Body and Glass Centers. Schmidt's will have your car looking like it just came out of the showroom, using the latest state-of-the-art body alignment and repair equipment and environmentally controlled painting systems, guaranteeing the same original factory finish. Don't forget Schmidt's for auto glass, too. If you really care about your car, the only place you need to go is Schmidt's Auto Body and Glass Centers, the precision collision experts for over 30 years.
Life is a lot of little things done over and over. And it takes stamina to stay above it all. Stamina needs a balanced diet. So make part of it milk. That smasher down of hungry thirst that's a nutritious energy giver. Milk with energy plus 15 essential nutrients to help you stay above it all.
Welcome back. Bill Polian press conference up on the wire along with Bill Polian and our winner of all those wonderful Bills things and the season tickets. No, to Toronto. Sherry DeMarco, Merry Christmas and welcome to the show. Thank you very much, Sherry. And we have something special for Sherry.
Yeah, you got it. It's your turn this week.
Next year, we've got 2 tickets for you to the Indianapolis-Tampa Bay game. It's played at a neutral site. All right. And it's not even preseason. Dale mustn't. Dale?
Yeah, Bill, one observation about something we were talking about earlier, the fans who feel that they didn't get their money's worth because Thurman and Lofton and Kelly didn't play. They're the same type of people that on a 4th and 1 will say, go for it, and when you don't make it, they say, you should have kicked. Same type of people to me.
Marv has a saying. He said, whatever you did, you should have done the other thing, and that's fun. I'd like to maybe expand a little bit on the answer I gave to Danny. There's nothing wrong with speculation in the media. There's nothing wrong with criticism. There's nothing wrong with the issue of the week. It makes for nice debate. It makes for good talk shows, and it makes for, I presume, good newspaper columns and articles. But we have to divorce ourselves from it. We cannot be affected by it, and we cannot allow ourselves to be affected by it. We can't allow it to seep in because it then becomes a detriment instead of something that's designed to entertain the fans. I'm all for entertainment of the fans, but I don't want distractions for the football team.
And of course, it's so easy to criticize after the deed's been done.
Sure. Well, that's part of criticism.
I don't get a chance to see the show all the time. I'm not sure if the issue has been raised, but I've been asked by a number of people to address the Super Bowl arrangements. A number of tickets would be available for, we're assuming here, a lot. Maybe not a lot, but we're assuming that the Bills are going to the Super Bowl. What will be the arrangement this time, as opposed to last year?
Well, there are going to be less well, I shouldn't say that. Because of the Disney package last year, there will be more tickets available, but for the season ticket holders. However, the capacity of the Hubert H. Humphrey Dome is some 60,000. So
63.
Yeah, okay. But some of that's set aside for the media, so I think that there's about 60,000 for the general public. So the overall number we'll have to distribute are going to be less than last year, but that's the bad news. The good news is if we're fortunate enough to make it, season ticket holders will have really more tickets to choose from because there is no travel package that the league obligates us to. We will hold the lottery shortly, and they'll be notified in due time. I should, I guess, address the issue of tickets for the divisional playoff game. Those will be available Monday at 9 o'clock at our office at 1 Bills Drive. There'll be approximately 1,000 tickets available for over-the-counter sale, and there'll be a limit of 10. And lots of people, I know, wrote me and called me and asked on this show about the problem that happened with scalpers last year with Super Bowl tickets. So we're trying to treat with that and still make provisions for groups by limiting the number of purchases to 10.
Anybody? We got, what, 2 minutes? Anybody have a short question? 3 minutes.
Question. Talk about the experience factor. Having been in this position last year, how big of an advantage is that this year having the same situation?
Well, I think any time that you've been through it before, and this is our 4th straight playoff, and the second time we'll have home field advantage, it's a plus. It's a big plus. Experience is the greatest teacher you can have, and in that sense, it's positive. But in the final analysis, it's a one-game season every week, and you have to go out there and just be prepared to do your absolute level best without the slightest bit of distraction, with the slightest incursion of events or things that don't mean anything to winning. Focus on football is the watchword from now until hopefully the 26th of January.
And just to get back to what we were talking about a couple of minutes ago, the easy excuse nowadays is to just blame the media. I think my perception of it is whenever there's a difference in opinion, with you or with anybody else in the front office, that's where we run into a problem. And that is the whole idea of having the media. The whole idea of media is to report things, to give you what's between the lines, but then on the columns to either side, it's to come up with your own speculation. And I don't think that anybody should be ridiculed or a newspaper be condemned because of what their opinions are based.
Nobody's condemning anyone.
But there seems to be a problem there. I just want to
there's no problem there.
2 and 14
They have a right to their opinion.
Back-to-back 2 and 14 seasons. I think it's fair to say that any coaching staff would be run out of town with back-to-back 2 and 14 seasons. And I don't think the media had anything to do with that. I think the record
That's your opinion. I have mine. It's a free country. I'm allowed my opinion.
And I think that most of these people that are sitting here today that applauded your stand on that were probably the same people that applauded that particular coaching staff.
Look, as I said at the start of the show, Danny, we can beat this horse until it falls over dead. The media has nothing to do with whether or not we advance. The only people that have anything to do with that are the players, the coaches, the staff, and the 12th man in the stands.
I think we all agree. Even Paul.
I agree.
Who's a quasi-member of the media.
And I'm going to let you know, I'll warn you ahead of time, the Bills win the Super Bowl in Minnesota, and they come back. And if we can ever get him out of Minnesota, we may have the dead hit. Not on this show. We may have the dead hit. We'll take a break here at the Bill Polian press conference. We'll be back with Billy and you and me right there.
Could you help me find a gift for my husband?
Oh, sure. Let me show you something.
Is there a game today?
No, that's a video. The hidden NFL.
They really seem to love it.
Yeah.
Can I get it here?
Oh, no, you can't buy it. It's mine. I just bought it by to show off our TVs. Now, let me show you this.
My husband loves this stuff.
Yeah?
How much is it?
Oh, the video?
Uh-huh.
I got it free.
Free?
Yeah, it came with Sports Illustrated.
Sports Illustrated. What a great idea.
This Christmas, get him a gift like nothing he's ever seen or heard. This exclusive video, The Hidden NFL. hidden mics and hidden cameras take him inside the huddle.
We're going to get it done this time. He's not going to scramble.
And on the sidelines.
A piece of that.
So he'll know what really goes on there.
They're like a bunch of crazy dogs.
My husband is such a sports fan. He'd love this.
Well, it was one of the best gifts I ever got. You know, there's a VCR over here that might be just right for it. What do you think?
Over 50 minutes of NFL secrets.
NFL, which stands for not for long when you make the...
Did you hear it?
Free with your paid gift subscription to Sports Illustrated for all the drama and excitement of sports.
It'll make a great gift for my brother, too.
Just call this toll-free Christmas hotline and surprise him with 54 issues for just $1.29 each. Even put it on a credit card. He'll love the exclusive issues, including the giant Winter and Summer Olympic previews.
This ain't a tennis match!
Plus, he'll discover the hidden NFL free.
About how much do you want to spend?
Right now, Sports Illustrated is on sale at over 55% off the cover price. You won't be billed until next year. Or for faster delivery, use your credit card. Just call now for the special gift you can be sure he'll love. Sports Illustrated.
Guys love buttons.
I am going to get him the magazine and the free video. Thanks.
Yeah.